Fighting is pointless. Um, this may be obvious to some of you who are watching this video, but I just wanted to say it to some people who it might not be so obvious, where who they think fighting looks cool. From someone who's experienced a few fights, let's just say. I think I experienced quite a lot in university. Um, but to go to university, I have to talk about secondary school, where basically I had a dad at home, right, who was around to discipline me. And whenever I did get into fights or I was angry, he'd be like, "Oh, let's take the anger to the gym. Let's see how really angry you are." And then you go to the gym and you're working out and you just get tired and you're like, "Oh, you don't feel angry no more." Do you know what I mean? So, but when I finally went to university, you ain't got no parents around, you ain't got no dad at home when you go to your flat dorm. So it kind of just felt like I could let loose in all types of ways, and fighting was one of them, unfortunately. And during first year, I got into a ton of fights. You know, punched a lot of people, and I don't think I'd ever lost one, or ever been knocked down, or ever really been like, felt like, oh man, like I came out of that like I lost that one. So it did feel good to kind of be off the restraints of like, oh, I can now punch someone, I can do whatever I want, and then I'm probably not going to get in trouble. And yeah, luckily we did not get caught by the university. um I think there were a few times we did get caught by security, but it never escalated to threaten the main reason why we were there, which was the degree. And I think we did get banned. I did get banned by from one of the clubs, like for suspended for a bit, but the punishments weren't really serious. Again, the main punishment would have been, okay, yeah, like we're kicking you out of the university, which thankfully never came to that. Um, but second year rolls round, and there's one, and there's one, and I'm starting to, we're fighting less. It's like we're chilling out a little bit. When I'm not going out into clubs as much, I'm kind of just in my, I want to chill at home, play some 2K, play some FIFA type phase. And yeah, one night I go out and I see a person who I had I had punched in first year, and he looks at me kind of shocked, and I was like, I didn't know who he was, and he kind of explained to me, "You don't remember who I am, do you?" And I was like, "No." And he kind of explained the story about how I basically punched him in the face. And looking back at that story, and for that first year, it was like I I didn't feel like I was in the wrong at the time, because I got dragged into someone else's fight. Someone that I was close, well, not close to, someone that I was acquaintances with, came up to me, our group, and was like, "Yo, this guy is like chatting shit about my girl," or something like that. And so we go to confront these guys. There's like about two, three guys there, and we have like three guys with us as well. So there's like three of us and three of them, and they're talking, and they're trying to talk it out. That his party is trying to talk it out with us, like trying not to fight, and we're intoxicated, and the guy with who his girlfriend, who had supposedly been talked about in a situation where he's trying to escape the situation. He's like, nah, fuck that. They were talking, da, da, da. And I feel a push, but I didn't realize, because of how intoxicated I was, that it was a push from the guy from behind me. So I felt a push, and off instinct, I just swung at the person in front of me, right? Because again, you get into so many fights, like it's like you got to swing first. So I felt something. I was like, so I punched the guy, and then I looked to him as and he looks up at me, and I punch him again, and it felt sick. It was like, oh, everyone's cheering and all that, and yeah, I did feel kind of hard. I was like, yeah. I was standing there, they ran away, and then that was the fight over, right? But he explains to me what really happened, how the guy who had drugged me into the fight, who again I wasn't really friends with, I just kind of knew him, how he kind of lied to us, and he was kind of explaining how that punch like really kind of traumatized him in a way where he didn't really want to go out and nights out. You know, his mental was messed up because of it, and I felt really bad because I kind of did find out after the situation that maybe the guy wasn't telling the truth, but I didn't care enough to go find the person and apologize and be like, oh my, and rectify the situation. I'm first year, 19-year-old idiot. Um, so I felt kind of bad, and the whole night out, I felt bad, and I apologized to the guy. They said, I'm really sorry. Like I didn't mean, like, well, I couldn't say I didn't mean it because I did punch you twice, but you know, I did feel bad about it at the very least, and I didn't want him to feel traumatized from it, but that's what happened. So I'm starting to realize, I'm starting to find out the effects of fighting it, and go to another story now. And this is around about the time 2020. This is roughly before COVID happened. I think it was one of the last nights out that I went out on, and one of my friends is trying to fight some guy outside the club, and I'm looking at the guy that he's trying to fight, and I'm like, I've seen this guy somewhere, and I'm like, bro, this is the guy that's in the gym. I see this guy at the gym. He's like, he's doing the same weights as me. He's quite strong. I was like, are you sure? What happened? And he told me the reason why he wants to fight him or something. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm not really too convinced. I was like, all right, go ahead. But I kind of knew I was gonna have to try and stop the fight in some way. My friend swings, the guy swings back, and I look at my friend's face as he's getting punched, and it was a hard pass. So I jump in off instinct. I jump in straight away and start like swinging and getting trying to get the guy off. And now it's a 1v1 between me and him, right? And we're just trading blows, trading blows, trading blows. And he connects against my chin, and it didn't hurt, but my left leg just goes down, and I'm on my knee. And this is a street fight, This isn't a boxing where the referee's gonna come say, "Oh, knock down," Like the guy's still punching me as I'm deep in. Wait, what's happening? And he's still punching me as I'm on the ground, and I'm looking up as this guy's punching me, and I was like, oh wait, I need to get back. I need to start defense. So I start rising up as he's punching me, and I'm punching him like from the ground, and like it felt. I was like, oh, as soon as I get up, I'm going to mess this guy up. And I got up, and now we're back to trading blows. And it was one of the first times where I actually felt kind of like the adrenaline. Like I've had felt adrenaline in all those other situations, but like this was a longer period, and it was someone that actually had kind of challenged me back, and they had knocked me down, and so we're trading blows now, and two outsiders in the situation stop the fight, and they come to me, they both come to me, they're like, "Yo, great jobs getting back into that fight," and I was like, "Also, I was really losing that fight, okay," and they go off now. The two outsiders take the guy with them to go into another direction, and I'm there like, okay, cool. But something I'm not satisfied. I'm not like something doesn't sit right with me. I'm like kind of wanted that fight to continue, and then I'm like, no, I'm gonna go back. I want to fight this guy again. And I go back, and the two guys were there like, bro, that was a good fight. Like, leave it. Like, you guys, forget about it. That was a great fight. You don't need to fight him. And the guy comes up to me. He's like, bro, I've got no beef with you. Like, you know what I mean? Because the beef was never really between us. And I kind of deep. I was like, yeah, the fight's over. Let's leave it. So I think the situation is squashed now. And I turn around, and there's like 10, 20 guys rushing from behind me trying to get to the Donny that I was trying to fight again, or the Donny that my friend was trying to fight. And I didn't realize my friend had sent a message probably to our group of people, and they had all come rushing out the club trying to fight. And so again, there's two outsiders, there's one guy, and there's about 10, 20 guys, and they're all being held back by two guys. And I was just standing there from the distance because they had already like gone away from me, and I was like, I'm not chasing this. I'm not getting involved in this. I'm done. Like, and I was just looking at it, and you just see 20 guys going, "What you this that?" They're all saying all types of slurs like you this, what you want some you this that da da da. And I'm looking at these 20 guys and they're like, what? Like, how are you being held back by two guys? And I was like, they don't really want to fight. They want to look hard. And the guy ends up running away because he's probably scared, and rightfully so. There's 20 guys, but he didn't really have anything to be afraid of. And in the end, they weren't trying to fight. And he runs off, and then they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm just looking at it. I was like, what am I a part of? Like, what am I doing? This is so like not cool. This is like, and I just came to the realization, just watching. It was like a one of the moments. I don't know what you call them, where you're just looking at it from like the outside in, and you're like, I just don't need to be a part of this anymore. And yeah, that was the last fight I ever got, and it was 2020, 2020, 2019. But it was the last fight I ever got, and I kind of vowed to myself, I was like, I'm gonna go back to what my dad taught me. If someone tries to start a fight with you, try and walk away from the situation. There's no need to fight anyone. But if it's if it's inevitable and it has to be a last resort, then don't start the fight, end the fight. But yeah, that's my reason why fighting is pointless. I just feel like even if you have a good fight, like I did, you're not gonna feel satisfied in the end. Even if you win, you're not truly gonna feel satisfied. You're probably gonna want to chase that adrenaline, chase that feeling, and also you don't know what effects you're doing onto someone else. And yeah, and you may have saved yourself from embarrassment, but again, yeah, you've probably messed up someone else's mental. Now again, if someone truly deserves it or it's an inevitable, then I understand getting into a fight to defend yourself. But being sure a lot of the fights that we get into, if it's in a club or school or in this a public setting, it can be avoided. People are going to stop it, and so yeah, that's why I think fighting is pointless.